Hi, everybody. I'm here today with Seth Mattison, who is an internationally renowned speaker on leadership, innovation, and workforce trends shaping business. Seth is the founder and chief movement officer of Luminate Labs. And companies like MasterCard, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, I've got a huge list here, AT&T, Merrill Lynch, Disney, and Deloitte have all sought Seth out for his insights and ideas on leadership and sales in the new world of work. So Seth, thank you so much for joining me today.
Danielle, thanks so much for letting me come on and have this great conversation.
We're really excited. Now, one of the things that we're all in this kind of strange period at the moment, and one of the things that we're hearing a lot from our clients is how can leaders keep people engaged and motivated when they're working remotely? It's a huge change from where we were even 2 weeks ago.
It is. It really is. Well, first of all, just a little perspective. So you mentioned my organization, Luminate Labs. We have one very specific mission with our work pre sort of this new reality that we're living in, and that was to help leaders prepare for the future of work. And to be honest, it hasn't changed because of this. In fact, if anything, it's accelerating what the next normal or the new normal is going to look like from a work and from a leadership perspective. And I think certainly, right now, as we think about the fact that most of the world is being forced to work remotely. And while some people have certainly been working remote for some period of time, that's not the majority, and certainly not every single day, all day, 365. So this is definitely a new reality for many folks. And as we first started to enter into sort of this new normal, I recognized and spotted that this was going to be a real issue. And so I commissioned a research study focused essentially in North America, Canada, and the US to try to identify what do people who are new to working in these remote settings, what do they value most from their organizations and their leaders? There's a lot of people who are talking about that topic right now, but I wanted to know, what did the data tell us about what people need and want in these environments? And so we commissioned a study. We just got the results back this week. So
great for us. That's awesome.
Yeah, great for you. We haven't even published these details yet. And my research partner's name is David Allison, and he is the founder and creator of what's known as Value Graphics. And the Value Graphics data set is the largest global data set ever created as it relates to what we value as human beings. He's collected over 500,000 survey respondents in 138 languages around what we value as people. And the whole premise is what we value determines what we do. And we know that from a neuroscience perspective of where values live in the brain, for one question it asks when we decide what we're going to do is, does this align with my values? So if we know what people value, we can really lean into being able to get them to change and take action. So we deployed this and we looked at what do people value most in these settings. And we were specifically looking at people who had the title of manager and director in their title. So these are sort of your frontline leaders inside of organizations. Mm-hmm. And what we found is that at the very top of the list, the number one thing that they valued was relationships. And so not necessarily family was actually number 3, which was a little bit interesting, but just relationships in general. And so you think about now when we're in this new virtual setting for the very first time, and we're disconnected from people, how important the idea of relationships is going to be. And we'll come back full circle as to specifically what can we do around that. The second thing that this group valued most was financial security. And so we think relationships, financial security, and then their family came in number 3. And number 4 on that list was professional development opportunities to learn and grow. So we've got relationships, financial security, family, opportunities to grow. That's interesting. Then we asked them a question around love, wish, and hate. What do you love about your work environment? What do you hate about this work environment? And what do you wish was different? The number one thing they said they loved about this new environment was the personal responsibility that came with, being able to step into this opportunity. Sort of interesting. And I think it's somewhat obvious in that if these people are managers or leaders inside larger organizations, part of the reason they're in these positions is because they carry a certain amount of personal responsibility in their work. what they hated, and this was very interesting, what they hate and what they wish. What they hated most was the lack of visibility, that now I'm not seen. So you think about how that plays out, right?
Yeah.
These are people who, it's not that they're politically motivated, but it's that, I'm a manager, I'm a leader, I'm probably trying to grow and move up in my career, build relationships and influence, and now I'm not seen. And the thing that they wished most, and this was way off the chart, was acknowledgement. So they're worried and hating the fact that they're not seen. And the number one thing that they wish was to be acknowledged. So let's sort of encapsulate just briefly 3 things someone can do right now to really engage and create high performance in a virtual team. First and foremost, the most important thing that leaders have to do with their people virtually is the only time values get trumped is when we're operating in a state of fear. So if we look at the neuroscience of it, values, right? It's the neocortex is asking, does this align with our values? The only time that gets shut off is if we're operating from our reptilian part of the brain, which is in fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about the environment we're in right now.
Perfect storm.
Fear, perfect storm right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fear and stress around our personal safety and health, our family's personal health and safety, our financial stability. Many people, even if they're inside of an organization that's not experiencing layoffs, they're wondering, how long will this go? Will I be impacted? What's the organization's response to this? So the first and foremost, the number one thing leaders have to do is you have to be able to create confidence in the future of the organization and for the future of that individual, right? So to be able to speak to them in terms of clearly, here's how we're going to navigate through this crisis moment. Have clarity around what will the new normal look like coming out the backside of this to the best of your ability. And if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, that's cool, Seth, but I actually don't know what that's going to look like. That's okay, as long as you can communicate that honestly as well. Have to have transparency.